Welcome to the Wellness for Women show, where we talk about life, weight loss and everything in between. I'm Faye Caseman, founder of the AAA Way Life and Weight Loss Programme, and I'm here to help you put together the pieces of life and weight loss for one last time. This is an episode of the Wellness for Women show, filmed live in the free Facebook group. Hello, and welcome to episode number 53 of the Wellness for Women show. This one is about overcoming those effort moments. Try not to swear, just in case there's any kiddlies in earshot of listening to the podcast or watching this live or watching the YouTube when it comes out. Have you ever noticed that when it comes to making positives in your life or taking what are positive actions, like committing to a weight loss plan, applying for a new job, doing the dishes or doing your business accounts, that you find yourself rebelling against your own plans and intentions? And the immortal words of "F it" start ringing through your head. F it, I can't be asked. F it, I'll start again tomorrow or Monday. F it, what does it matter anyway? And how often do you think, why can't I just stick to my plans? What is wrong with me? Leave me a me in the comments if that is you, and make sure that you have a listen to today's show. Ultimately, we all have an inner rebel. It's perfectly normal to have effort moments and to think, what the hell, why can't I get my stuff together? And we have this inner rebel. It's that part of us that rises up when we are faced with something new or something that our brain thinks is challenging and subconsciously starts screaming, no, not today. No, not doing that. No, not today. And usually our inner rebel, she usually appears when we're telling ourselves no or setting limits or telling ourselves that we should be doing something. But the great news is you are perfectly normal. Whew. Always great to hear, right? It's perfectly normal when we decide we want to do something, whether that be about our health, our fitness, taking on a new job, finding a new love interest, or doing something for ourselves, for others, or businesses, our careers, that a little part of us will want to rebel. And that voice can be big, it can be small, medium, nagging, overwhelming, and sometimes a mix of all of them. And so it can feel at times like our inner saboteur seems hell-bent on stopping us from achieving our goals and making positive changes in our life. And if you want to dive more into how the saboteurs can impact your weight loss, then check out episode number 43 of the Wellness for Women show, because in that one I go into that in a lot more detail. Okay, so let me get over there. There we go. Lost my train of thought. We can also get a whole range of emotions that come up when we're feeling this way. You get a lot of anger and fear and doubt, insecurity, judgment, overwhelm and fatigue, just to name a few. And it can be really, really draining. But the good news is there are strategies that you can use to help yourself stay true to yourself and to your goals. It takes time to learn how to take control of your inner rebel, but you can do it and you can stay true to yourself and the goals that you set. So what's coming up in today's show? We're going to talk a little bit about where does your inner rebel come from, how getting to know yourself can help, how making a conscious choice and taking action is the key, and how to hold your tootsies to the fire. So let me know, as usual, what your takeaways are from this episode in the Wellness for Women Facebook group. Make sure that you leave a hashtag gem plus your comment. And likewise, if you've got questions, it's the place to be for a private community and support. And as usual, for those who don't know me, super quick intro. If you're new to my world, I'm Faye Caseman. I help women just like you find food and life freedom by putting together the pieces, just like a jigsaw, for lasting weight loss management success. Reach out to me on any of my socials and the links are in the description. So, back to the rebel within. I had some coaching this week myself. Knowing that I was writing this show, I wanted to explore my rebel within, where my effort moments come from. I know, for example, that I can procrastinate on tasks I don't want to do. I have had moments lately where I don't plan or show up for my weight loss, how I want to, and I wanted to explore these. And I have to do, ultimately I have to do this work too. I need a coach, I need coaching, I need to do self-coaching, because ultimately I'm just a normal human being, just like everybody who's listening today. But I do the work because I want to be different. I want to change and grow, and I want to be someone who lives an intentional life where I do what I set out to and achieve my goals. And I want to be somebody who shows up for myself daily for my healthy habits. So it was really important for me that I explored all of this. And so I wanted to share with you what my main takeaways and reminders were in case you needed to hear it today. And so they were that having an inner rebel is normal. It's normal to feel resistance at times. It is okay. Self-sabotage, rebelling against my own plans, not following through at times is normal. It doesn't mean anything about me until I start putting a thought to it. It's just how our brains work. I can work on letting go of judgment, so therefore so can you. And I can continue to commit to figuring out my life and weight loss one day at a time, and I can figure out where that resistance shows up and why, and I can use the techniques I now have and share to keep chipping away at them so that I can be who I want to be. The power of coaching at its best. I went from wondering what was wrong with me, why do I do all these things, to having a way forward and some clarity on what I wanted to do next. Will it be perfect? Will I be perfect at it? No. Will I still have effort moments? Yes. Will there be obstacles in my way? Yes. But I will grow and I will move forward 1000%. Yes. So how can you explore your effort moments, whether that be through coaching or self-coaching? So first, a little science lesson. Where does the rebel come from? Who is she, the one that says F it all the time? She is, of course, you, well, a part of you. Knowing ourselves well, taking ownership for ourselves and accepting ourselves is where it's at. I decided the best way I could describe her is that she's the love child of our past and present. So you've heard me talk about our brains before in other episodes, but ultimately your inner rebel is part of your primitive brain or your habit brain, and its primary purpose is survival, maintaining the status quo, keeping us happy and keeping us safe. Your inner rebel also doesn't like, as a rule, being told what to do, even if it's for your own good, and this is where it can create resistance, or you can get sometimes things called cognitive dissonance and demand avoidance, these kind of things. We all have these little bits inside of us, some of us more than others. And our little rebel within, she can get a bit confused. So we have to help her out. Let her run the party, and we end up reacting our way through life rather than proactively driving our own destiny. Each of our inner rebels is different. It's why you can't just have one solution to a problem, and why it's critical that you build your own path in life and weight loss. Your inner rebel was formed in your past through childhood and past experience, and it's reinforced by your present, by what you keep doing over and over now in present day. Hence why I called her the love child of your past and present. But she doesn't have to define your future. And the choice is yours, really, as to what actions you take in order to discover your inner rebel and how she shows up and everything like that. And one of the things that you can do is that it can be helpful, as long as you are comfortable doing so, in taking a little step back and trying to establish where some of these things came from, what's driving that behaviour, where are these effort moments coming from. So again, it's not necessarily about going too deep into it, but just sometimes taking a little dalliance back into the past and just seeing if there's something obvious that created that moment. So is it fear of change and failing, or do you lack confidence in your ability, or perhaps it's a desire to stay in your comfort zone or to feel relief? Relief is certainly a common one that comes up in coaching, I would say. Is there an old story that you need to pick there? Is it a habit? Is there a trigger? And identifying and understanding why you might be resistant or uncomfortable with making these changes in your life or achieving your goals can be really quite transformational, because you start to see that cause and effect and where things have come from, and it gives you the ability to then see them for what they are and then look to tackle them. So that's one thing that you can do, is take a little dalliance to the past, as it were. And then where do your efforts appear? So this is a little bit more about working in the present. So how better to get to know what is going on is to look at when the efforts are actually arising, and that's to gather awareness, so observing your day-to-day activities with loving curiosity. What is actually happening in life and your weight loss? And taking time to get to know yourself better, your triggers, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. And when are the times that you say F it and step away from your plans and your goals and your dreams? I'll let you into the biggest secret of all. It's not actually the F it moment or whatever the F it leads to, like food or drink or gambling, procrastinating, that is the problem. These are just the end results. Something happened before this, most likely. Whether it was a bad day at work, an argument with the partner, kids running you around in circles, a task to do, nothing to do. You were out with friends, you were happy, you were sad. It all started with a situation that led to you having a thought, that led to your emotion, that led to your action. This is how it all fits together. And sometimes what you can actually have is a thought cycle within a thought cycle, really, and so the effort one is the last part of that cycle, but there's perhaps a few that went before it. And sure, you could try and willpower your way through it. You can tell yourself you just need to be disciplined, and that can work for the short term, but it's not really a solution. We then wonder why we fail, and often it's because we try fear-based motivation, and that doesn't really work long term. So when we're working on weight loss, it's important to remember that it's not about the food. It's not the food that the issue, which is what dieting would have you believe. If you're trying to do your business finances, procrastination is not the real problem. And we're often trying to solve the wrong thing. So when you say F it, your brain ultimately is trying to tell you it doesn't matter. I don't matter. My goals don't matter. But why it's telling you these things is, do you actually really believe that it doesn't matter, you don't matter, your goals don't matter? Chances are in the moment you're believing everything your brain is saying, but you don't really believe it in the cold light of day outside of that moment. Chances are you're just looking for relief from something. And we need to identify what it is that you are looking to try and get that relief from. What's led to the urge for the food? What led to the urge to procrastinate? So a quick bonus tip is watching out for sneaky efforts. So one I noticed a lot this week, for example, is when I say, I'll just do XXX for 5 minutes. So whatever that might be, I'll just scroll Facebook. It's a sign I'm avoiding something and I'm heading for a period of procrastination or distracted action, or I'm heading to the fridge because I'm avoiding whatever demand I've placed on myself in the moment, even if it's self-imposed and even if it's not a large demand, for example. So, for example, this weekend, instead of writing the show on Saturday, I sat down. I distinctly remember thinking, right, okay, what do I do next? And all of a sudden I just felt really, really tired and overwhelmed, and I wasn't quite sure where to go. But I suddenly literally felt pretty much instantly drained and tired. And so I thought, well, I'll just rest my eyes for 5 minutes. And I'll just have a little lie down and I'll come back restful. 2 hours later, I woke up. I woke up from that nap, not knowing where the hell I was. And the thing with that is that, it wasn't the nap that was the problem. It was the fact that I had somehow created a demand that my brain, right at that moment, just wasn't ready to take. And so my brain, with loving care, tried to send me off in a different direction. And I fell for it, hook, line and sinker. And I've also heard myself do it in weight loss as well. I'll just have a little look in the fridge. I'll just have a little look in the fridge, even though I'm not hungry. Sneaky, right? It's that I'll just makes it seem perfectly normal and natural, but really it's a siren call calling you away from your goals. So watch out for the words that you use. Watch out for the thoughts that you have. And I think, is one that probably a number of us fall into the trap over. The interesting thing is you can also use a "can I just" statement to your advantage as well. So if you want to do something that is perhaps a bigger task and something that you typically would procrastinate on because you've looked at your life with loving curiosity, you can actually use the "can I just" statement to just get yourself started. So let's say it was, I need to tidy the kitchen. And then you might say, can I just go and put the plates away, or something like that. And before you know it, you've cleaned up the whole thing. So watching out for your languages, and what you say and how you say it to yourself can be really helpful. So again, rather than creating a demand on yourself by saying I have to, I must to, I need to, all these things that create drama and pressure, say things like I get to, I choose to, I want to, and just notice whether you find a difference in how things come up for you. So moving on, making a conscious choice and taking action. Rather than allowing resistance to take over and lead us astray from our goals, we must learn how to make conscious choices about our behaviour instead of letting our emotions do the talking for us. So when faced with a difficult situation, or if you're on the verge of an effort, just pause for a moment and ask yourself, what do I really need right now? How can I show up for myself in this moment? And this simple action will bring awareness into your decision-making part of your brain so that you can make a more mindful decision that's aligned with your values and goals. And once you've identified the underlying cause of your inner rebel and how she shows up, you can use that mindful awareness to continue to make conscious decisions about how you want to respond the next time X, Y, and Z happens, whatever it might be, how it shows up for you. And it's that loving curiosity that's the key. You can also look at, do you have old stories? So things that you've perhaps carried with you for a while, old beliefs, things that we call limiting beliefs. Do they still have a purpose in your life, or are they outdated and in need of replacement or deletion? Is this an old habit that's just creating these effort moments? So for example, I also know that when I am trying to put off a task, I will invariably go and get a coffee before I start the task. My brain, it's a habit now that my brain associates starting a bigger task with needing a cup of coffee. But how did it start? What's the one small thing that I could do to change that if I wanted to change it? The first decision is it something you want to change or you don't? And there's no right or wrong answer to that. It's all about what you want to work on. And again, this is the key to the motivation part of it, and why using your language is key. It's not a case of saying that I need to work on these things. It's I get to, I want to, I choose to work on these things. What was the trigger and how can you solve it? So again, I'm now very aware that next time I have a bigger task, I potentially need to break it down into smaller tasks so that I don't feel so overwhelmed, and so that I don't then create demand avoidance in myself, which means that I don't then want to do the task and that I then procrastinate, or then I procrastinate, whatever it might be. So again, just be mindful of if you're putting yourself under too much pressure, and ultimately how you can slow your roll next time so as not to overwhelm yourself. And are there patterns of thinking and behaviour that you need to watch out for? Is the things that you do over again that, again, you just start to notice the more you become aware of what you do, and then you start to step into making these small doable actions, and it's those small micro decisions and action steps that ultimately will change your life. Do they need to be the right decisions? Hell to the no. No, they don't. They are just a decision, no big drama, just something to try on for size, see if they make a difference. Because ultimately, the smaller the step, the easier the climb. And the easier the climb, the quicker it is to get to the end. And as you start to build trust with yourself, build confidence, it's going to keep you motivated. Of course, change still won't happen overnight, but it's just one that you've got to be in it to win it. You've got to have a go at the end of the day, and just commit to giving it the time and patience, and staying true to yourself and your goals. Holding your little tootsies to the fire. So this is amazing, of course. I can sit here literally until the cows come home, talking to you about all the things you could consider doing, but you ultimately have to get it done. You have to do it, and this is where the rubber meets the road, and where you need to figure out a way of holding your tootsies to the fire to get that stuff done. It's where a coach and community can help you. It's about being accountable. How can you be accountable to yourself, to your new habits? So for myself, I'm keeping a track of my learning points in my new OneNote system that I've been playing about with. I'll be talking regularly to my coach. I'll talk about what I'm working on in the Wellness for Women membership and with my accountability buddies. And I will ultimately just continue to find a way to keep myself accountable and motivated, and so I know that you can too. Quick roundup for you. So ultimately, the best way to stay true to our goals is to make positive changes in our lives is by becoming aware of our patterns and anything that's ultimately preventing us from reaching the goals that we want to reach. We can then take small steps towards achieving these goals with loving curiosity and a commitment to understanding ourselves better, what we do, when we do it, how we do it, and having an accountability system to keep ourselves motivated. And ultimately, it's through this process that we will learn how to recognise and prevent the effort moments and overcome your inner rebel to find success on your journey of self-improvement. Okay, that is it for this week, guys, and I will love you and leave you. Obviously, don't forget to pop into the Wellness for Women group regularly. Let's say as a community, we learn from each other by discussing what comes up, getting support, and ultimately, if you want to get started, just drop me a DM and I'll be happy to have a chat. Thanks for listening, and don't forget, if you want to boost your life and weight loss the AAA way, check out the relevant links for today's show in the description. Speak soon.